which is brilliant. And that got you to Sussex, and I know you did well at Sussex, and you got sort of an academy contract down here.
Yeah, so sort of didn't expect anything really, to be fair, if I'm honest. It was sort of just...
I'm surprised you could see with that long ginger hair.
Honestly. I think all the stress is over.
It's long gone now.
It's long gone now. Yeah, no, I didn't expect too much, if I'm honest. I literally was just sort of turn up, see how I go. Had some nets with Keith Greenfield, who's obviously still involved with the club. He was fantastic with me at the time, fantastic coach, a good guy to me. Really enjoyed, training and everything else like that side of it.
But what I want to ask you now is then, this is from a cricket perspective, trying to make it. You've come from Berkshire, you've come from Middlesex. Obviously, your dad. I know you personally, and I'm touching it too much in this interview, but I know you sometimes get frustrated with people going, "Mike, how's your dad? Mike, how's your dad?"
That's the first thing.
Frustrating, and we've had conversations in the past where it's been, go and call him, and they don't have his number, and that must be frustrating.
Yeah, I think anyone that's got a father that's played cricket, I have full sympathy for, because you are constantly being looked at in a different light.
Especially
you don't get that opportunity almost that, say that someone hasn't had someone that's played the game, for example, or their father's played the game.
So like a blank canvas.
Blank canvas.
Yeah.
They'll look at you in a different way.
Okay.
So the first thing you're thinking, rightly or wrongly, in my mind was, one, am I good enough to start with? Which every kid has that problem. Of course, obviously. So my issue was, am I good enough? And then, am I going to be as good as my dad? And then after that thought was, am I going to have people saying to me, which they did all through my youth system, was, you're only here because of your dad.
That's so annoying, isn't it?
It is, but unfortunately you go through that, and I supporters of Sussex always speak to me about things like that, and rightly or wrongly, they not really thinking about it, they just say it, it comes out.
So I suppose I don't really mean it either, but
they don't mean it, of course it. And when people come into everyone comes to the ground, even now to this day, people come into the shop and they'll go.
So for those of you who don't know, Michael works still at the cricket ground. The Newbury shop is at the ground. So when he says the ground,
apologies.
No, because people know. So the Newbury cricket shop is at the ground, the main store, which is where Mike's based. So he does see a lot of cricketers, and obviously his dad's still umpiring. So yeah, just so you didn't know.
So he'll come in. Yeah. People come in and just that's the first thing they want to talk about. To be fair, it's not how I'm doing, it's how your dad's doing, which again, that's part and parcel. I've been since the age of, I'd say 17 when I moved to Sussex. He was more known at Sussex because he was captain,
and he's a big personality.
Enjoys life to the full, and everyone knows him as a character. So it's nice talking about him sometimes, but
of course,
33 years of it is a long time of it.
So going back to, I can't even remember the question I asked you. So obviously coming through that, and people knowing who your dad were, and going through Berkshire, Middlesex, coming to Sussex, you getting thrown into the academy, doing quite well and being around the first team, because I suppose the contracts they had back in those days, if you compare it to football, it was like an under 23s contract.
Correct.
Where you're in and training around, you're getting a small salary, you don't have a name and number, but you're in and around the first team. So I remember when Sussex won the 2007 championship, you were around the first team squad the whole time.
Pretty much the whole season. It was pretty much, I think I did one game where we beat Hampshire, I think it was, I'll be rightly or wrongly if I have to quote me on that one, but we beat Hampshire, and then Mark Robertson was very superstitious and was like, right, you're now going to be 12th man.
But that must have been an amazing experience though.
Honestly, Matt, take out all the cricket I've played. Yeah. Doesn't matter how many games I've played, second team or club cricket, or the experience I've had in and around cricket. The experience I had 2007 to 2009 probably. Yep. Being around, especially 2007, was speaking to people like Chris Adams, Murray Goodwin, even just throwing balls to them. Because that's all we did. That was what we were at that time. It was.
No wonder you haven't got a shoulder left now.
I've got no shoulder, got no back left, because I just threw balls.
Yeah.
But that experience of throwing to Murray Goodwin and seeing the intensity of the way he trained. I was throwing balls of 14 yards at him and throwing it very hard, as hard as I could, basically, to knock his head off.
He was unbelievable, wasn't he?
But he was fantastic. But because he overtrained all the time. And that was...
But he didn't overtrain for a long period of time. It was like
no. Short, sharp, get it done. Where there's other players, in that dressing room were completely different. Some people didn't like tip balls, some people did. But just being around and obviously living with Yas Arafat and, you know, training with Yas and, you know, being around him all the time. You know, there's some fantastic players in that time and fantastic just people.
Yeah.
Because in those days, where it's a bit different now, I say those days, I found like an old man, but coaches, you know, would leave the players.
Yeah.
And then you sort of just crack on as a player.
Just find out yourself.
Yeah, you find it yourself. And then let sort of, you know, the academy boys throw balls at you, train with you, and they'd help you and you learn off them.
That's gone the full circle now because the coaches are now the facilitators where the academy boys were previously.
Correct.
Do you reckon that's because S&C and sports science have gone mad on that?
Yes, and also I think the way the money in the game has changed and the players have changed as well. Yeah. So it's a lot more, I'll be completely honest, and selfish. Yeah. Players are a lot more selfish now, where before you'd have the older players which would put an arm over the shoulder and go, look, I think you might be doing this wrong. Yeah. And you can almost accept that because Chris Adams was telling you that, Murray Goodwin was telling you that, you know, Richard Montgomery was telling you how to open the batting, teach you how to open the batting. Your first 10 balls. It was a fantastic turnaround.
So who do you have in here? Chris Adams, Richard Montgomery, Murray Goodwin, Matt Pryor, was he around then?
Matt Pryor was in that team, yeah.
Luke Wright?
And then you had Luke. Well, Luke Wright was on the edge, wasn't
so he didn't even break in yet.
You think the players that weren't even in that side?
Mushtaq
so you think,
Ahmed,
yeah,
Zach Lane Mushtaq,
Jason Lurie,
James Kirtley,
Robert
Martin Jenkins.
Honestly, there was
Yas Arafat.
But even Matt, even when you look at the second team, the players coming through: Chris Nash, Michael Yardy, Carl Hopkinson.
Jeez. Well, those three now. Nash has just finished at Notts.
Yep.
Yards is batting coach at Kent, and Hoppo is England fielding coach.
They had a great. That group was, I've got to say, fantastic. And that's what I'm saying. Being around that, even
the class
playing,
of '92, Manchester
United. It was.
Sussex is '92.
But even playing second team cricket, it was hard cricket. You know, I don't want to keep just dropping names all the time, but we played a Surrey team that had, I think, 5 England players at one point.
I remember I made my debut in the second team maybe shortly after that, and I was amazed. I was only young, 16, 17. I batted 9 or 10, and I was amazed at the standard. Like amazed.
Oh, it was absolutely ridiculous. I've got to say, it was absolutely ridiculous. It was.
I was
the best stepping. Yeah, it was the best stepping stone though. You play obviously a lot more than I did, but in general, to be in and around that second team and seeing how players would conduct themselves to try and make, you know, being a first team player. Yeah. You know, we were playing against players like Jimmy Ormond, Alex Tudor, Chris Tremlett in the Surrey. This is just a Surrey bowling type side.
More. They had the overseas playing against us. I remember.
Mushtaq played. Yeah. I mean, we had all these players.
Played. What other players there? Steve Smith played a few games against us.
He did, yeah. Ken Martin Saggers played for England.
He bounced me out when he was about 17. Caught deep square leg for a long boundary. Didn't go down too well.
Sounds a bit like you.
when you've done a winter's work on short ball.
Short ball, we did, didn't we?
You hit it up.
Spent 6 months in the short ball.
Indoor
school, yeah. But that side, I've got to say, that period of going back to what you were saying right at the start there, to be thrown in almost in the deep end with just, it sounds really silly, like even throwing, like, you know, like catching practice, you're always under the spotlight. You're so nervous. I was constantly sweating with a ball in my hand. You had like Matt Pryor keeping, then you had Chris Adams, Murray Goodwin, Hoppo, and a few others. You think, oh my god, if I throw this wrong, I'm just going to get shouted at.
If you throw it too much to the right, you get shouted at for not hitting the bat.
True.
Then if you throw it too straight, you're going to kill the coach.
Exactly.
You're trying to impress.
Exactly.
So you've literally got like not even a 4x4. You've got like a little box to aim at, like a baseball pitcher. It was tough.
It was a tough learning curve.
You can throw knickers under pressure. Yeah. You can throw anywhere at any point.
I think the problem was, I think I was so good at throwing in the nets at people like Muzz. I think I got collared for about. I think I did. I think I did 6 or 7 championship games back to back. I don't think I played a game that year.
Yeah, but do you know what you need to do? It's like when you go into the office and someone goes, "Oh, can you make a cup of tea?" And you don't want to, so you make it shit, and then you don't have to do it again.
Exactly.
You should have just done it shit for one game.
Exactly.
And then you were fine.
But no, but I've got to say that, Matt.
Great experience on
it was hands down being around a dressing room, winning a championship. You can never take that away.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't even play a first class game, I couldn't care less, if I'm honest. It was the best experience. Just being around that group. It was like one big bubble.
Yeah.
Everyone got on really well. We had some fantastic overseas players. Rana and Mushy were possibly the 2 of the nicest guys you can meet. And then obviously Yas came in after.
Was Yas in cold pack then or not?
No, he was.
Did they rotate the 3?
No, because they had the 2, and I think Rana got injured.
Okay, so.
And then Yas came in. But
that worked.
Again, don't quote me exactly on that. But it was just a great experience. Just to be around them.
Great.
And that was all we needed to be. And then for my own sake, to be fair, it was just a great learning curve for my own game.
Yeah, definitely. You're around those caliber of players day in, day out. You're just going to learn.
And get better.
Yeah.
You just get better. My problem was the caliber of players that I had around me were far too good for my own.
We had this conversation the other day, didn't we? We reckoned if you were playing now, you would be signed on what you do what you had done in the second team at that point. Or
yes and no. I don't want to live like.
We don't want to quote.
Don't want to quote because it's just. It's one of those things.
You look at the way cricket's gone.
Yeah, of course. You always look at. And I always look now. I think self. I'd love to be involved because I'm obviously still in the ground.
Yeah.
You see the guys and you watch a lot of cricket and you see it. It's a lot different now. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot different now, and the demands of players and the video analysis on players now is completely different. Yeah. You're getting scrutinised 24/7. You know, and I understand that. But my big thing is I just wasn't good enough that time.
Yeah.
So if I can accept that, that's for me. I can accept that.
Mm-hmm.
Where at the time I was thinking, oh my God, I could get signed, I can get this, I can get that. It was never going to happen. The players better around me. I had yourself, Luke Wells, just to name two batters, you know, who were just behind me.
Yeah.
And in front of me, there's about 6 or 7.
It was tough, wasn't it?
So for me, I'd never go. I should have played.
I remember when I first even got on the staff, I was dropped from the second team game with that strong. I went mad. I'm signed, and you're like, well, yeah, you're not in our best 22 players.
I used to bat 6, 7 most
18,
weeks.
19.
Couldn't get a chance.
Yeah, and then you're like, can I go higher? I remember you said, can I bat higher? And they were like, no. You've scored enough runs. They're scoring hundreds in front of you.
You need to average. I think it was like 60 or something to even get a look in.
Yeah.
But look. It's different eras, different times, different everything else like that. So.
I don't know if you can hear the buzzer, but me and Mike walked into the room, and it's about 15 minutes too early. So what we're going to do, we're just going to pause it here, and then we'll crack on off with our dinner if that's all right with everyone.